Hey everybody, welcome back to Let's Play Wrath of Cortex. Whirlwind our way over to what I think is, if it's not the best warp from in the game, it's damn close. And you can tell that because straight away...
The Crash Bandicoot, eh? Oh, I've heard so much about you, and this is the hero I have to blow away? Ha! Seems like a bunch of hot air to me.
As I was saying, you can tell this because we're starting straight off with the Coco level. And of course, I said in the thread that Wrath of Cortex doesn't really have any memorable music. And of course, the very first level we get after I say that has some great music. I'll freely admit that. You'll hear it a bit more when we're dealing with the bonus. But yeah, the mask in this area is Lolo. He is a wind elemental. So I think wind can be taken to mean just generally any kind of atmospheric weather or precipitation. Because we have the snow here, we're going to be seeing quite a bit of rain later on, and a lot of very unrelated stuff. So this is Avalanche, and you may notice Coco's levels are a bit the level names are a bit self-explanatory. Like we had Tsunami earlier, and we got Avalanche now. I won't spoilers. There's an avalanche in this level, so we'll be dealing with that. This bonus is kind of nice. I like Coco's bonuses. It's where someone pointed out in the thread that Coco doesn't have any of Crash's abilities because it's more focused on the classic platforming. So it does make bonuses a little more interesting. I tried to jump that, but got just caught in the blast radius. Isn't that just a happy opening sting to this level's music? I like it a lot. So anyway, back to the bonus. The bonus is pretty simple, so long as it's standard bonus rules: hit boxes, avoid nitros. And there's plenty of nitros, plenty of cool little set pieces. As a general rule, any level that contains a large amount of explosives is going to be quite fun. So, you know, we have here a large amount of explosives, and naturally the level is pretty good. Some precision jumping here over these nitros, and a nice display of the power, or lack of it, of TNT. Coco's shoes are... Coco's stomp is more powerful than an explosive blast. Just think about that for a second. And the same goes for Crash's belly flop. They're more powerful than explosions. It makes not a damn bit of sense. So the level doesn't have much in the way of enemies. In fact, the opening half of this level is kind of standard and kind of boring. There's this little ski run here, which we are traversing without skis. Naturally, being a slidey area, there are nitros everywhere. There's that little penguin there who's not even remotely any kind of threat. So there are plenty of nitros dotted around for us to wiggle past. Aku there. Quick checkpoint, and into the real meat of this level. Welcome to the snowboard. So you'll notice the first thing we did was went to go through a gate, and as soon as we went through the gate, that little counter appeared. This section gave me no end of trouble as a kid. I think it was a full evening. It was a full evening of effort working on this until I finally perfected this run. So naturally, going back through it now as an older, more skilled gentleman, I have absolutely no problems with it and clear it first time. Something I want to bring up regarding the chase sequences. Someone brought up completing that slalom course perfectly earns us a gem. Getting all the boxes gets us another gem, so we full housed that one. No backtracking is going to be required there until it's time to go around grabbing relics. So, going back to the chase sequences. The chase sequences are The point of contention that came up in the thread was, if whatever's chasing you breaks the box, does it count? This came up after Tsunami, where I had those 3 boxes and I had no idea where I'd missed them. As I think I proved there in Avalanche, if whatever's chasing you breaks the box, it does count towards your box total. The only thing, it's like explosives destroying boxes in bonus levels or anywhere else. You don't get whatever was inside the box, be that apples or extra lives, but they do count towards your total. The important thing that the game considers when you get to the end of the level is the box broken, not considering what broke it. It's all about whether it is actually broken. So anyway, finally getting around to talking about this level. This is Droid Void. The opening stages are pretty standard stuff. There's a lot of platforming, and our first view of the hanging nets, which are making their long-awaited return from Crash 3, I believe, is their first appearance. A little additional thing to them now is that they now, as you can see, are electrified in certain areas. The electricity will alternate between the top and the bottom. It's not too much effort, it's not too much difficulty to avoid it, because in pretty much all the areas you're going to have to double jump to get up there. They give you those little metal boxes to stand on if you want to break from them, but that's not really something you're going to be using, since by this point you've got the double jump, so what's the point in not using a double jump? The electricity doesn't kill you, but it does shock you off. It kills you on the bottom, but up in the air it just shocks you off. It just shocks you off the hanging net. Some more bonus action. This one, again, fairly simple. There's not a whole lot of explosives here, apart from that giant line of nitros. So tiptoe across those, and it actually works this time, unlike it did in the last video. And this is the first practical use of the tornado spin. It glides us over there, and it helps us grab all those lovely boxes in mid-air as well, without us having to perform awkward double jump spin combos and try and get out into the void and get back to the platform before we fall into the pit, basically. So now we're entering the second part of this level, and if you remember the last boss fight, which you should, because it wasn't that long ago, this is the other version of the mech suit that we were using last time. We were using in the Pyro boss fight. Instead of the water gun, it has this apple cannon, which is absolute arse. The crosshair will beep when it's over something that can actually be destroyed, but it's such a giant pain in the arse to get control of, and because the level is dark, because this section of the level is dark as well, it really makes things harder to see where you're aiming, because in their infinite wisdom they decided, hey, let's make the crosshair subject to darkness. It's one of those things that just shouldn't happen. It shouldn't have happened. But it did, and now we're paying the price. And the end result of it is, in this giant robot suit, that we end up... In this giant robot suit, we end up having to go through things very cautiously, because the usual enemy rules apply. We'll get hurt if we hit them. But so often this whole area is just stop-start. With that said, walking around and jumping and platforming in the robot suit is a lot of fun. It's only when they actually stop you on thinner platforms and demand that you deal with the enemies that things really get annoying. Fortunately, those areas aren't too common. That fan there, I think, blows you around, the one that's blowing purple air, and you can see another one in the background there. I think they do blow you around, but they never give me any kind of trouble, and you don't even notice it, so negligible is the effect. I like that area, because you just shoot one nitro and it takes out all the enemies ahead. It's a very satisfying thing to do. And the same principle was applied earlier on, where you saw the collection of the assortment of metal boxes. We had to blow up the nitros, and that opened up a path for us to move on. So you're starting to see in this area just how much of a pain in the arse it is trying to control that, because the apple won't launch until the gun is locked in place. So you can't just pull and shoot. You have to wait for the thing to actually get there. And making matters worse is that the crosshair is always trying to return to its neutral position. And you shouldn't need me to tell you how much of a pain in the arse that is. Because you're having to hold the analog stick in position, and there's the purple gem platform. You're having to hold the analog stick in position just to get a solid shot. I'm quite proud of this jump. And now we're aiming in 2D space. Except we're not aiming in 2D space, we can still aim into the foreground and into the background. It's just, as you can see, rather than just make it a 2D object like I believe it was with the Apple launcher in Crash 3, the crosshair is a 3D object, so it's kind of hard to tell where exactly in the foreground it actually is. And this box up here, we don't have the height to break that with a jump, and we can't get our crosshair high enough when we're so close up that we can actually, see the damn thing. So what I end up having to do is go back into the shadows and just start taking pot shots at it. Eventually I finally hear the beep and we move on. There's one area in this video that I thought, maybe I could put some speed up in here, but I figured no. I have no idea why I did that. I thought I could maybe put some speed up in there, but I decided, hey, it's a good place for me to rant about the crosshair. So yeah, all things considered, that level was pretty dull once you get to the robot. The robot could be better used. If, for example, it had a weapon like this.
Is there a draft in here?
No.
Coco, Cortex has assembled an armada of space stations that are ready to strike the planet. Use the lasers on your ship to destroy them.
So just to reiterate the plot of this game briefly. Cortex has created Crunch, and Crunch's purpose is to kill Crash. So that Cortex can then take over or destroy the world or do general evil things uninterrupted. So now we find out Cortex has an armada of space stations with which he could theoretically fire giant orbital lasers at the planet with. Like, why are we just learning this now? But anyway, it's another flight mission and it's our job to give it. We get too close to anything, we get spun away like that and take a small amount of damage, but it's nothing too serious. The boxes are just like in any other flying levels, hanging from these space balloons, I suppose. Maybe they're weather balloons. Each space station has these little shield generators flying around. Each space station has 3 space stations. So while there's technically only 3 things you have to destroy in this level, it's actually 12 objects that need shooting down, and all of them have roughly the same amount of health. Enemies in this level are pretty kamikaze. They'll quite often just fly straight into you, firing their lasers as they go to get some extra damage in. This is probably the easiest flight levels to die in, just because you do take quite a bit of damage really from the enemy lasers, and you take it very quickly as well. So it really is important to keep an eye on your health, know where the health points are when you need them. Like right now, I'm at 55%. I could probably do with that help. Taken care of, and the gem as well. Rack up some more apples for shooting the space station, and that's that dealt with. So moving on to a water level. This level does seem quite a bit like it's going downhill fast, but it's not a particularly interesting water level. The only real thing it really adds is those little tentacles there. But they're never too much of a threat. They don't ambush you very well. They're very easily taken care of. They're very easily taken care of with the depth charge. But it just faces the same problem as all other water levels, in that it's just slow. Like you would have seen at the beginning of the level, we only have 85 boxes in this level. So you might surmise this might be a shorter level because of that. And really, I think compared to the water levels we've seen so far, it is. But because it's a water level, everything just seems so much longer, like the whole thing's artificially lengthened. That's a really annoying thing to have in the back of your mind. The level is going to feel longer than it actually is. Because generally when you get that, it just means the level's going to be pretty dull, and you're not going to be having fun playing it. And really, you're probably not going to have fun playing this, because it's a Crash Bandicoot water level, and there's not really a whole lot you can say about it. The usual assortment of enemies appears. There's no other than the tentacles, which I've already explained and really aren't interesting. There's no new enemies. Those jellyfish continue to move around. There are still those annoying small little coral fish, one of which I take revenge on there. There's a little what I believe are referred to as crash fish. Like any enemy that's orange is generally referred to as a crash enemy. If you play Crash 3 in the dinosaur chase levels of Crash 3, there was a fish enemy that was a fish out of water that did Crash's spin. And I believe that's what those are up there. You can see one at the top of the screen. I believe that's what they look like in the water. They have the similar shit-eating grin. They don't spin, but they are pretty fast-moving and fairly obnoxious. So there's more than enough reason there to hate them. More boxes, more extra lives. Over 70 lives now. This is including having lost a fair amount. I think we could feasibly be at 90 by this point in the game, if we hadn't been losing lives. Mines, and everything slows down, and now we enter this. I think it's a TNT barrel, and we lose our gimmick. And gain another one effectively. We lose our sub and we gain sub aqua crash. Because just what you want when you've finished controlling something that controls like arse, controlling something that controls like slightly more arse. What is kind of invaluable in this level is learning to use Crash's little dash, because when you're turning around, like suddenly turning around to avoid a nitro, it can be critical because it gives you that sudden stop and immediate burst of speed in the other direction. Or coral fish. So it's one of those things you'll see me using quite a lot as the level goes on. I think we're about halfway through the level now, so just again think about that for a second. How far we've gone, how little we've seen, and how much more we have to go. See, if I hadn't used the speed boost there, I would almost certainly have hit that mine. Down here, there's a few boxes, and up here, there's a few boxes. And you may remember me being really paranoid about boxes and water levels previously. Well founded, because behind that wall of reeds and plant life is a massive cluster of boxes. So there we go, I am vindicated. There's also a giant thing move, and because of that I go up down there to see if there's anything down there. I don't know whether it's actually possible to get through that without losing at least a mask. I don't think I remember ever doing it, and I can't do it now. I think maybe if you get a perfect line on it, and you maybe tornado spin for that extra bit of speed, maybe you can get through it, but if you've got a mask, chances are you're just going to spin and take the hit. With the crystal, the level exit is very audible now. Spinning the nitro, box gem. We are 100% for gems right now. Seriously, look at that. We have done 4 levels and we have 5 gems. This is excellent going.
Not used to the weather here, I a wimp.
This is the last level, at least of this world. Weathering Heights. And if you're wondering what the weathering bit is about, the height bit is about, we'll see that in a little while. Basically, it's your basic platforming level, much more focused on enemies this time than actual platforming. There's a few of these little gaps here. Those blue funnels don't kill you, but at this stage of the level I was still thinking they did, and assuming they did, and not wanting to take a risk. You see there what they do. They have those little yellow enemies sometimes within them, and they bring them up and down, just as like a little barrier to avoid. The Aku Aku mask, the Aku Aku hidden in that little cluster of TNTs, is actually quite a nice thing, because it has the box jumping and bulging and bouncing around, so you know there's a box in there worth getting. Another cluster, and we have 2 Aku Akus. There's masks all over this level. We've noticed we've been losing them and regaining them at a fairly solid rate, and that platform of metals has no purpose really. Maybe if you think Crash is getting tired and you want to let him take a small break, it sounds like the kind of things kids would do. That one I just dropped down because I wasn't sure where that enemy was coming. It doesn't matter because I ran into them anyway, but you know. So that exclamation mark box filled in a bunch of metals and a TNT crate, and it was important that we spun the extra life first, otherwise the TNT would have blown it up and we wouldn't have got it. Because God knows we need extra lives. This is another great bonus. Once again, due to generous servings of explosives. It's a bonus level that focuses more on, can you get everything available to you? Like, can you get all the apples? Can you get all those extra lives that are there for the taking? they're all there. The only question is getting to them. And, ladies and gentlemen, 3D platforming on a 2D plane. It doesn't work. Extra lives everywhere on this one as well. We could have got on a 4th extra life if I hadn't filled in those TNTs. And there's another extra life there. There's just extra lives everywhere in this bonus. I think it's 5 or 6 grand total. So those get nicely slotted into our total, approaching 80 lives now. That platform's a bit of a dick because perspective means it can be kinda hard to tell where it is in relation to where you are. Again, 3D platforming on a 2D plane, it doesn't work. Kudos to Naughty Dog, not Naughty Dog, Jesus. Kudos to Traveller's Tales for vaguely trying, but it just doesn't work. Don't do it. Those light blue things, they puff up and explode. They're completely unthreatening, completely unthreatening, completely uninteresting. Those yellow and orange funnels spit out fire. They're generally done when you get to them. And this area is probably my favourite part of the level because it allows me to jump and duck and do the awesome slide. Just to dodge the lasers, and it ruins it all by adding in this invisibility box and just has me run down a corridor. It's like, why give me that if you're gonna give me an interesting platforming challenge? Why say, here's something that will let you ignore this interesting platform challenge. And if you don't want to be constantly backtracking through this level, you need this. Just think, that's a dick move, game. So more from the no fun police, those nitro crates stop me from sliding under that laser beam. Quick spin of the nitro crate confirms these are the last 2 crates. Which means a box gem and a full house of box gems from this level. There's 5 levels, 5 box gems, 1 bonus gem from Avalanche. And now onto the boss, atmospheric pressure.
Hey, look! The orange boy likes to fly!
Time to earn your wings, kid.
Correct me if I'm wrong, any pilots in the thread, but isn't earning your wings a good thing? I don't know, it seems like a weird, ineffective threat. So it's the 4th boss of a Crash Bandicoot game, and therefore it must be up in the air. I believe this has been a tradition since Crash 2, which I believe was the first appearance of Engine. Then Crash 3, we had Engine again, and now we have Crunch again. So the basic idea of the level is very simple. We have to shoot whichever part of Crunch's body is attacking us at the time. Split between his left hand, his right hand, his fist, and his chest. We can tell which part's about to attack because Lolo will hover around it to power it up. From his right fist he throws out a giant ball of lightning which does, I believe, 10% percentage points of damage. His head spits out those smaller balls which do 5%. There's this beam he shoots from his left hand which does another 5% every time we touch it. And there's the curtain of lightning. You can tell kind of where the lightning is going to come down. As you see it coming out, you see the hole. So in no way is the game sending you in there unprepared. No 3-hit rule here. No 3-hit rule here. It's just constantly firing at Crunch, whittling down his energy bar. As the fight progresses, he starts to appear more and more weak. And you can just tell this just from just the fact that he's constantly flashing with lightning. Losing control of his powers. So this boss fight's already been going on way too long for my liking. I was about ready for this boss battle to end about a minute and a half ago. But no, we're still going. He's still got about a fifth of his life bar left. Just such a boring boss fight. None of his attacks are particularly hard to avoid. He doesn't change up the order that much. It's always telegraphed what he's going to be attacking with next. And his attacks get weaker rather than stronger the further into the fight you go. There's no escalating challenge, it's just shoot these things, and shoot these other things. It's just annoying. But he's dealt with, and we get one of the most important weapons in the game, the Fruit Bazooka. This will let us fire arrows like we did with the mech. If you play Crush 3, you know it, you love it. We can't test it out in the warp room though. And the bad guys aren't going to get their narc on this time, so that they're saving for our first voyage into this warp room. Our final warp room, and I will see you then. Bye bye.